Morning, excuse me. Welcome to the December 15th meeting of the Board of Commissioners. We will begin as is customary with the observance of a moment of silence. Thank you. Please rise for the pledge. Flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I see there's no one here from the public. Go right to the approval of the minutes of our previous meeting. Question of approval of minutes as submitted.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the minutes of our December 1st meeting. Any additions, omissions, or corrections or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved. Morning, Treasurer Newman.
Morning. We had receipts on 12/13 and 12/14 for $1,399,737.92. Brings to total cash of $3,134,386.38. We had expenditures this week of $1,990,386.10. Undistributed tax claim is $72,770.15. That brings us to a balance of $1,071,230.13.
I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report subject to audit.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we approve the treasurer's report as presented. Any questions or comments? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved. Thank you. Morning.
Morning, Michelle. Michelle Stanley, Director of Human Resources. Under personnel transactions, resignations, and terminations, Cindy Cassius, part-time senior center manager, area agency on aging, resignation effective December 16th. Camilla Arbeliz, caseworker 2, children and youth services, resignation effective December 30th. Corinne Dillingham, general clerk C, clerk of courts, resignation effective December 2nd. Daniel Page, assistant district attorney 1, district attorney's office, resignation effective December 30th. Atari Felton, full-time correctional officer at the jail, resignation effective December 5th. Robert Snyder, office support 1 at the jail, resignation effective December 23rd. Madison Duncan, probation officer 1 in probation services, resignation effective December 16th. And Macy Rivera, accounting clerk C, treasurer's office, resignation effective December 14th.
Motion to approve those resignations.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve those transactions. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Under changes of status, transfers, and promotions, I have a motion to approve Administrator of Children and Youth Services Erin Moyer's request to continue to temporarily permit non-union children and youth services supervisors to assist union caseworkers with primary on-call week coverage and receive on-call pay at the rate of $225 per week, or excuse me, on-call week, 7 days, with the ability to split the week 50-50, in which case the on-call rate would also be split 50-50, effective January 1st, 2023 through June 31st, 2023. This would only occur in the instances where there are no caseworkers willing to cover the on-call week. All on-call is offered to union caseworkers first.
That should be June 30th.
Sorry.
And I'd just like to verbalize the understanding that this is because there is no one qualified to cover, on call.
It's not, there's no one, the pool's small. Yeah.
Yeah, no one's available. Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the coverage of children and youth as presented.
Change in date.
With, yes, she amended that before.
Second that.
Motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Any conversation about this motion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Madison Hafer, promotion from caseworker 1 in children to caseworker 2 at the rate of, this is the 2023 rate. 10-2 at the rate of $1,359.13 biweekly, effective December 25th, 2022. And I do want to note that is the start of the first pay period for 2023. Brianna Morgan, promotion from caseworker 1 in children and youth services to caseworker 2 at the rate of $1,359.13 biweekly, effective December 25th, 2022. Michael Ott, transfer from deputy warden of operations at the jail to hazmat chief in the Department of Emergency Services. This is again 2023 rate at $2,739.66 biweekly, and that is effective January 8th, 2023.
Motion to approve those changes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion regarding the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. So moved.
Under other transactions, I have several motions. The first, to approve a request from Robert Dow, Director of the Department of Emergency Services, to create 10 hourly casual part-time operations technician positions within his department at a grade 6 on the non-union salary chart, effective immediately. These positions will assist the coroner's office with transporting the deceased, and all costs associated with these positions are 100% reimbursed through invoicing for the services performed.
Make a motion to approve Bob Dowd's request,
Second.
for the part-time operations technicians.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve that request of Director Dowd. Any questions, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. So moved.
Motion to approve the contract between the County of Lebanon and Hartford for employee life insurance coverage for 2023.
Motion to approve that contract.
I'll second the motion.
It's moved and seconded to approve that Hartford contract. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. So moved.
Motion to approve the contract between the County of Lebanon and Sun Life Dental for the dental insurance benefit coverage for 2023.
It would be a pleasure to make a motion to provide Sun Life Dental for our faithful employees.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve that contract. Any questions regarding the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. So moved.
Children and Youth Services would like to hire Paige Tess as a caseworker 1 at the rate of $1,227.25 biweekly, effective December 19th. Clerk of Courts would like to rehire Jennifer Vasquez as a casual part-time court clerk, 2023 rate of $13.49 per hour, effective January 3rd, 2023. The Department of Emergency Services would like to hire the following 5 casual part-time operation technicians, all at the rate of $12.43 per hour, all effective December 18th, and that is Cynthia Houck, Brianna Regal, Sarah Santiago, Jody Longren, and Ken Weichel. New Department of Emergency Services would also like to hire Stephen Zimmerman as a casual part-time ops tech, a 2023 rate of $12.55 per hour. His is effective December 25th, and that is the start of the 2023 pay. The district attorney would like to hire Wayne Brigham as a full-time assistant district attorney 1 at the 2023 rate of $1,956.56 biweekly, effective January 23rd, 2023. The district attorney would like to hire Destiny Cord as a full-time booking agent at the rate of $14.35 per hour, effective December 19th. District attorney would like to rehire Mackenzie Wright as a full-time booking agent at the rate of $14.35 per hour, effective December 19th.
Motion to approve those hires.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve those transactions. Any questions or comments? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. So ordered.
Moving on to salary board, motion to approve all the transactions previously read, plus the following. Jason Ladd, full-time telecommunicator, salary increase in the Department of Emergency Services to the rate of $18.56, effective November 27th. And this is because he is certified on all boards to move to a telecommunicator 2.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Comments or questions? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
So, okay. Thank you.
We want to get a resolution. Signature dates.
Morning.
Morning to you. Thank you.
Please introduce yourself and then you may proceed.
Thank you, Tina Litz, Warden of Lebanon County Correctional Facility. I'm here for two things. The first being the maintenance contract. As you know, that we have been unable to hire maintenance since August. We've been in conversations with doing a professional service agreement for the start of 2023 with CGL. It's a company out of Georgia. The service agreement would allow us to enhance the safety and security of the institution, allow us to have a computerized maintenance mechanic system in place to help us track our preventive maintenance. It will also allow us to enhance the indoor air quality by making sure that the coils are clean and we have a better airflow in the facility. As you know, the building was built in 1979, so as we continue to grow, we're seeing some difficulties and issues. So by allowing this professional services agreement, we would be able to better track our correctional maintenance, which we're not able to hire for. We're asking that this be signed and we can move forward with it.
That's true.
The first agreement would be 2023, and at the end, we would again come back for 2024 to have the second year signed.
Couple of things there.
Sure.
It's Georgia-based company, as she mentioned, but they are currently under contract with Franklin County and Lancaster County. Correct?
Yes, yes.
So they have, I'm going on memory here, they have 30 employees within an hour and a half drive of our facility. So they do have depth for responding to emergencies if need be. And
And they do hire within the community. So though the plant, the base, home base is in Georgia, they do hire within the local community.
And looking at this for budget purposes, you'll recall this from the process. The warden and I analyzed the costs, and Angel analyzed the current costs we have for maintenance when you include the approved positions that are on the roster, the benefits that go along with that, all of the expenses, all in. It came not quite, but close to what this contract is. The additional we feel is value added. She mentioned, just having a tracking system, which we've never been able to employ, and having depth and some expertise. They'll have somebody that does HVAC where we won't really necessarily need to call a specialist or a contractor, and they have that in-house.
The agreement will allow for us to have a supervisor, an HVAC tech, and a plumbing person on site for us daily.
So it just provides, again, value added. So
We have a motion on the floor.
a motion to approve this.
I'll second it, but I do have reservations.
So I forget, I know Prime Care has a huge network of facilities that, that they have a lot of depth beyond the access to people if we have need backup. But do you know how big they are in terms of how many prisons they operate in?
CGL? CGL has contracts like Jamie mentioned with Franklin County and Lancaster County currently. And then they have numerous county and state facilities in Maryland and Washington. I would say 300, but it might be more.
Wow.
So
you know, we're
they've
getting
been
the benefit-
doing this
Yeah.
a while. They're not new kids to the
We're
correctional
getting the
maintenance.
benefit of all that data that they accumulate, and then they can refine and that trickles down to Lebanon contracts. So that's stuff we would never have access to otherwise. I think that's a great upgrade in the quality of the service that you experience.
I appreciate the support and this effort. Running with one maintenance man for 90 days has felt like an eternity.
The overall annual agreement is what,
48, 530.
448. Okay.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, I guess I should outline my concerns. One is the fact that they're an out-of-state company, which I've verbalized before. And my problem with that is that the laws in Pennsylvania are not the same as the laws in Georgia. I don't see anywhere in the contract where it says if something goes to court, that it must be tried here. This could make us travel to Georgia to try and settle disputes. Maybe I missed it, but I didn't see it. I tried to read it as thoroughly as I could, but with interruptions and things, perhaps I missed it. And two other things came to my attention reading through it. One is there's a startup fee of $12,000. Another is they want to use our tools. Now they say they're going to inventory them, replace them, repair them, but why aren't they using their own tools? Any mechanic coming in usually brings their own tools. And then the final thing is, it felt like they are not necessarily doing all the work, but they're talking about 10% markups on, I'm trying to remember if it was contracts and parts or one or the other, but it feels more like they're a broker than a repair service when I read the contract. And so those are my concerns.
To address your concerns, Commissioner, Dave Warner did look over the contract. It's a standard professional service contract. Timing of us not having maintenance was causing safety and security concerns within the institution. We had to make a decision on how we were going to protect the staff and the incarcerated population and the community based off of lack of maintenance staff that I had. We have a lot of gates and panels that are antiquated. A company that is correctional maintenance expertise, they're able to network within their community maintenance folks to be able to get us the parts that we need. The $12,000 we had addressed
Can I
previously.
just, before you go to the next
Yes.
item, on page 5, paragraph 18, says this agreement shall be governed by, construed, and enforced in accordance with the laws of the state of Pennsylvania.
Page 5. They're
Page
not
5, paragraph 18.
1, 2, 3. They're not numbered 4, 5. Paragraph 18. Okay, well, but it doesn't. By the laws of Pennsylvania, will the hearings be held in Pennsylvania?
That's what they've always insists on that, and that's exactly what that. It has
Well,
nothing to
that's-
do with Georgia.
That is important. No, it does have something to do with Georgia. but
No, I
it is
mean,
important.
I'm simply responding to your concern about Georgia, saying this is not governed by laws of Georgia because they are based in Georgia. It's governed by Pennsylvania laws.
But
So,
that's good, but it still doesn't say that the hearings would have to be appealed in the courts of Pennsylvania.
well, they certainly would. I mean, I don't know
I
how they
would-
could file them in Georgia when if there's a dispute, the dispute's occurring here. So it would have to be filed.
Well, that's good. But they also are looking at all kinds of overtime. And so I'm sure we're paying for driving. And if they get held up, are we paying for hotel rooms? I can't see that we can't hire, if this is indeed more of how they can hire people from Georgia, and here we are, the whole state of Pennsylvania, we can't hire people. It just doesn't make sense to me. And to have someone who would, for $448,000, we can definitely have someone to do the subcontracting. We could have an HVAC person, etc.
We were attempting that for 430,000. We couldn't. I mean, the position's been open since August. She had another resignation. That position, there were a few applicants, couldn't have them filled. They're probably most likely paying a higher wage, but they're also asking their people to travel. They're not all going to be assigned just to our facility. They're going to be bouncing between Lancaster, Chambersburg, Lebanon, and we can't, compete with that. If somebody wants to be in the maintenance business and they're willing to work in a correctional environment, they're likely going to pursue something like this over what we have to offer. At least that's what we're experiencing.
They just add that this is an emergency situation down there that we are trying to address. It's a 1-year contract. We are, this is a remedy that we are trying out for 1 year. If we don't like it, if it's as horrible as is being suggested, then we can not agree to it after 23. So, I mean, this is not a 10-year contract that we're stuck with for, in the dark here. This is, we'll be able to test drive it for a year. I'm sorry, Nick.
No.
Go ahead.
It's very similar. I think just a different perspective is that it's certainly not my preference that we contract somebody to do what we have been able to do for many years, and that's hire qualified staff to maintain our prison. But we've made best faith efforts to do that, and we are in a very vulnerable position and leaving ourselves open to liability and really safety, and you touched on it, and security issues there. So I don't see we have another good choice at this point to try to reach that stability.
I would like to acknowledge that the warden has definitely tried to address my concerns. But my training and instincts are telling me it's not something I can support. And I just want to be upfront about that. And we going back to Cedar Haven, out-of-state firms and everything involved. I have the same feelings and instincts, I should say, more than feelings, but instincts that with the business model, I'm not comfortable with.
Yes.
There's still a couple of unanswered items. If I could continue just real quickly, the tools. I don't know if the board can chime in here, but I believe using our tools is probably better for accountability, because every contractor that comes in and out of the facility has to account for their tools coming in and their tools going out.
It's cost effective for the short term, being that we don't know if this is going to be a long writing contract. Like we mentioned, we're looking at this for 2023, potentially 2024. We have to inventory our equipment for the Department of Corrections inspections. Another reason why CGL is a good fit for our facility is because they're already familiar with the inspection credentials that are needed to get a successful 100% compliance with the Department of Corrections, as previously stated, because of their interaction with the Lancaster County Prison and the Franklin County Prison.
Anything else? All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 2-1. Now, question.
Thank you. Part two would be just formally asking for us to be able to extend our Pine Care contract for 2023. I thank Jamie Wolgamoth. He did a lot of the interactions with Pine Care to negotiate contract. The number looks the same. Jamie was able to work with them to get us a 1% decrease from a 3% increase based off times. The cap amount would stay the same. The cap fund would stay the same as it was last year. So we're just asking for permission to continue that for 2023.
I make a motion to sign a contract with Prime Care for $3,434,643.57.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion regarding the motion? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so ordered.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate all the work that went into making these things happen. Those are two big pieces of the puzzle.
I appreciate your time and discussions. Thank you.
Holly in next, and then Danielle Emmerich will join Holly. But I forgot to mention at the beginning, due to change to the agenda. The 10 o'clock was due to weather. They were coming from Poconos, and they've postponed, and they will come back next Thursday when we have our meeting for the budget, which is also an opportunity to not that a business, so just work out better. We'll bring Michael Anderson in a little bit early. We'll the agenda that way.
All right, good morning, ladies. Like to introduce yourselves and you may proceed with your presentation.
Good morning. I'm Holly Leahy, Administrator for Lebanon County Mental Health, Intellectual Disabilities, Early Intervention Program.
Danielle Emmerich, Purchasing Agent.
we have several items this morning for discussion. The first are contract amendments for NHIDEI, and this would be for fiscal year 21-22. I think I've been back several times for fiscal year 21-22. This time we are closing the books for fiscal year 21-22, so there will be no additional contract amendments. There is one in the amount of $17,375 for Gemstone Human Services for intellectual disability services. These would be covered under our state and federal application for NHIDEI, so we would not be seeking any additional county tax dollars to cover the amount of the contract change.
Motion.
Make a motion to approve the provider contractor, was it 17,375?
Second that.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this final 21-22 provider contract agreement. Any comment or question regarding the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Yeah. The next item are contract amendments for MHIDEI for fiscal year 22-23. We are 6 months into the fiscal year. There are 11 contracts totaling $136,431. It's a mixture of mental health, intellectual disabilities, as well as early intervention contract amendments. The largest is for a new contract with Lebanon County Christian Ministries in the amount of $58,050. This is for a new service to fund for social determinants of health. Social determinants of health include things such as food insecurities, housing insecurities, perhaps utilities. We can help in many different ways with our folks in services for MHIDEI through those social determinants of health. Again, the expenditures would be covered under our current allocation. We would not be seeking any additional county tax dollars to cover these expenditures.
Make a motion to approve those amendments.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that we approve those 22-23 provider contract amendments. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
So Danielle is here this morning. We have another project going. We had noticed that at our agency building at 220 East Lehman Street that there was quite a lot of erosion and some issues that we could visually see with our brickwork, with the repointing and perhaps some sealing that needed to happen at that building location. So we did bring someone in to do an appraisal to take a look at the building and actually tell us what was really happening and what was necessary in order to ensure that we didn't have any leaks into the building and any additional problems as a result of the brickwork. So we have been working through the bid process with Danielle.
Yeah, we went ahead and placed it out for bid. We did run it for the 2 weeks that we were supposed to, only because of the amount of the contract that we had to get covered. We only had one bid come through for that. It was for Stewart Masonry. That came in at $46,808.40. This will be done by prevailing wages.
And that is a local contractor from Lebanon.
Yes, it is.
Bring to that.
I'll make a motion to approve the bid with Stewart Masonry for $46,808.40.
Second that.
It's been moved and seconded that we hire this local masonry company. Questions or comments? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
And so with that, would we need to ask for formal approval then to initiate a contract with Stewart Masonry, or would that cover the formal contract?
Proceed.
I have the purchase order right now for this.
Will that be done over the winter or will that wait till spring?
Most likely it will wait till spring.
I was wondering.
Yes. So we'll have it in place, and then that way, when they have the availability in the spring, they'll be able to complete the project.
Will this make the building inside and out totally up to where your expectations are?
We have
Never.
one.
Never.
At least the exterior portion of the building for most of that, but I mean, it'll help with leaks and prevent any kind of damage with the structure of the building, so.
We do have one more area that's identified with the roof, and I know I have kind of talked about that a little bit here and there with the roof. We did bring the warranty company back in to take a look at what was happening. There's quite a lot of bubbling and it's lifting. So we're having quite a few issues with the roof at 220 East Lemon Street. So that is the next project that we will need to figure out how that needs to be handled and rectified to fully secure the building and ensure that we do not have any leaks or any additional problems as a result of the exterior.
Okay, I know you've been working really hard at getting that building up to modern, codes and everything else, so yeah,
Yes.
keep up the good work.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your support. I
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate it.
Anything else?
Thank you.
See if that's it. Oh, okay.
Morning.
Morning, Michael.
Lots of seconds of engagement.
Thank you for filling in.
No problem. On keeps me on my toes.
It does crack that whip.
All right, you introduce yourself and then what you are.
Good morning, Michael Anderson. I'm Director of Domestic Relations. Here today, we have requesting a revision for the professional service contracts that we're required to have as part of our cooperative agreement with the state. And so about a month or two ago, we were here for the hearing officers. And they were negotiating just slight changes to their contracts that you had approved previously. Termination moving from 90 days to 60 days. And they just wanted some clarification on the language about the bond, what the bond covered, which is basically just their work for us. And so all of that was actually approved, or I should say, okayed by Stephanie Zarlis in Court Administration. So I just wanted to request that those three contracts for Kristen Lee, Rosalind Presby, and Ellen Wargo, the commissions would so allow those changes to occur to those previously approved contracts.
Motion approved.
And I'll second the motion.
It's seconded that we approve that contract. Any questions from Mike? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign, so you
Great, thank you. The second part would be then we have two contracts for our court reporters that we use for those hearings with those hearing officers. This would get us in compliance with having contracts as required by the cooperative agreement. I have given you copies of those. That's for Corinne and for Corinne, I never can say her last name correctly. It's on there, and Kathy Sheffy. Those, like I said, are for the court reporters for those hearings. I've asked that you would approve those contracts as well.
I'll make a motion to approve the contracts with Corinne and Kathy.
Is it Lucy?
I think that's right. Thank you.
Any questions for Michael? No in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign, so moved.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Jamie Yanks, it's going to be an extra South Lebanon. Follow up on a grant you authorized for you approved for the
Morning.
Good morning. I'm Jamie Yanks here from South Lebanon Township, just to review how we spent our 2020 Marcellus Shale grant funds. So we received $13,534.92 from the county, and then it's a 50-50 grant, so we matched that amount. It was mostly spent on playground equipment, and we also put in surveillance cameras at South Hills Park. So I have pictures. Let me share. At South Hills Park, there was a little horse and a little cow for kids to ride on, and a whirligig that they spin around on. We also have a small park down in Avon, and we call it our Avon Memorial Park. And there is a climbing structure, a spin cup, and another spinning thing that you can see on the pictures. Also at South Hills, we bought 2 sets of bleachers, which they would use for baseball and football games. And then we put up 8 surveillance cameras at different areas in the park. For the obvious reasons. And that is about it.
Do you have any comment or any knowledge of the activity at South Hills? It seems like it's always busy with a lot of things going on. How many people use that park in a year or anything like that?
I wish I had a better number. The one thing that is used very heavily, we put in a frisbee golf course on the State Drive end, and it is full every day of the year. Even over the winter, there's people there all the time. So that's used heavily. The walking trails are used very heavily. People getting their daily exercise, which actually for our 2022 grant fund that I believe's already been approved, we're repaving that walking trail. So, and then the playgrounds and the sports activities, it is very heavily used. And it's a nice, I think it's like over 120 acres. So there's a lot of space, a lot of green space, forested area, and then the picnic pavilions.
I only ask because we often talk about the quality of life investments that we make countywide with Rail Trail and, Camp Shand and Rocky Creek and, all those, Governor did, but, if you look at all the municipalities and all the quality of life things that you're investing in, it's really quite amazing for a small county how many, investments are made for the benefit of health and recreation.
I also recognize that you facilitate some of the training exercises for ham radio operators who support the county with our emergency management services. So that's greatly appreciated as well.
Yes.
They come out there annually, if I'm not
They're
wrong.
there the last weekend in June every year. They're normally there.
Set up towers and everything.
I just want to acknowledge Jamie's help in our property down by the driver center and helping shepherd that subdivision through. We're going to settlement today.
Oh, do you have
Yes,
settlement today?
so it's on,
Okay.
it's on in front of us, so.
You
I just
help
wanna
make
say
that
thanks.
We have a box of candy right
Yeah.
now.
I know, it's kind of slow.
That's been so
Some
long.
projects, that's how they go.
Yeah,
There were only 10 or 11 delays.
10 extensions, I think.
Yeah.
So it's in front of us today, that's why I wanted to bring it up, so it's finally coming to close for us anyway. For you, it's probably gonna be,
Just
some,
starting.
yeah, subdivision review, or not subdivision, but development review, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the funding.
Have a great day.
And before I get to what was in your packet, as I mentioned, related to that closing and settlement on that property, I would like to get a motion from you authorizing the execution of those documents. You can authorize me to do so. It's going to be it's going to be electronically done, so it'll just be, typing in the authorization. Authorizing that, and we will do that in the form of resolution in case the title company for the buyer needs to see that.
I'll make a motion to approve Jamie as our signee for the electronic completion of the real estate sale for the East End property. After you said 10 extensions, so it's been a long time coming.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. that transaction. Any further discussion? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. So moved.
Okay. And then, okay, next I have a hotel tax grant fund application from the Community Health Council of Lebanon County to assist with the Tour de Lebanon Valley 2023, which is to be held, it's early June, if I recall. 10th sticks in my mind, but to assist with the sponsorship, I'm sorry, with the advertisement of that event. The total project cost is $15,000. They're requesting a $7,500 grant. Cole attached a very thorough report on how those funds get utilized. I think she gets the award for the best reporting on how they utilize the grant. So
Very much.
you're inclined then take a motion on that.
Motion to approve that request.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this funding request of $7,500. Any comment or question from anyone regarding the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. So approved.
Okay, next have Conservation District Director nominations. For those who may not have been involved in this before, the Conservation District Directors are appointed by the county. However, it's required to be done through a process of nominating, and there are a number of organizations who are designated nominating organizations by the state, and so we solicit them every year for nominations. We have to beg, and this year was no different. So John was feeding the phone lines, trying to get some nominations returned to us. So what you have before you are nominations first from the Lebanon Agricultural Land Preservation Board, nominating Rachel Malfair as the Farmer Director and John Poff as Public Director. And then the Lebanon Valley Rails Trails is nominating just Rachel Malfair as the Farmer Director. So you, by the way, you're not obligated to these nominations. You may still choose someone else if you'd like. Typically, we acknowledge or recognize a majority of whatever the nominations are. So in this case, we have 2 nominations for Rachel Malfair for Farmer Director, 1 nomination for John Poff, and that's pretty much the slate.
I'll make a motion to approve Rachel Malfair as a farm director and John Poff as a public director.
Second.
We have a motion is second, and we have nominations provided by Attorney Van Strider and John Wayman, so you don't get too much better than that. As far as you don't know those folks, you can certainly base it on the quality of the nominators. Any discussion regarding the motion? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. So moved.
Okay, I have some appointments, other appointments, that was the Conservation District, have some others here. From the Lebanon County Library System Board, the name of Rich Raiders has been forwarded to be appointed or reappointed. I'm sorry, he was appointed back in August to complete a term to the end of this year and is now seeking a reappointment for a term to December 31st of 2025, representing the Anvil Free Library, as well as Donald Klein, who is seeking another term representing the Palmyra Public Library, which would also expire 12/31/2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been seconded that we approve those library requests. Volunteers, any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. So moved.
The nominating committee of the Mental Health, Intellectual Disability Early Intervention Advisory Board is making the following recommendations for reappointments for another 3-year term ending 12/31/2025. They are Sarah Fuller, Ann Thompson, and Sandy Arnold.
I'll make a motion to reappoint Sarah Fuller, Ann Thompson, and Sandy Arnold to the MHID EI Advisory Board.
And duly seconded. That we have those nominations. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those same signs. So moved.
Next, I have a resolution for you to consider. This is stemming from budget discussions we've had with the Department of Emergency Services. And this is a resolution to increase the public safety fee that is imposed upon municipalities from 70 cents per capita to $1.20 per capita.
Per year.
Per capita per year, correct. This fee has been collected for at least 30 years, could be longer. To anyone's knowledge, it has not been raised in over 25 years from the 70 cent per capita. It's just been billed, it's intended to just offset some of the costs the county incurs that we're not statutorily required to conduct. But so in looking at that, Paul had this conversation at budget time. And so this would be billed in June, I believe, of the year 2023. And some of the things that are covered, by the way, and Bob has a letter drafted that will go under your signature municipalities, but his calculation is that the county actually incurs about $7.80 per capita in additional costs that are not mandated relating to emergency services, training, et cetera. New for 2023 is that the county through DES will be administering and scheduling the fire school down in East Cumberland Street. That was something that was done by the Lebanon County Firemen's Association for many, many years. But they have come to the realization that they don't have enough volunteers to maintain that task. And so we're going to take that on. Central booking is another that the county has done since 2003. It's never been a break even, not even a break even endeavor, but it is a great service, I believe, to the municipal police departments because they can bring their defendants here and get back out onto their patrol. And those are just a couple of examples, but anyway, this would require a resolution on your part to raise that fee. So if you have questions, I'll attempt to field them. Otherwise, motion to approve.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we move that per capita allocation from 70 cents to $1.
20 cents.
Any questions or comments? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
So same sign. So moved.
Also have a proclamation here. Recognizing Paul and excuse me. Paul and Marianne Levan are going to be recognized by the American Red Cross as the actual regional hero. I'm sorry. I don't know what the designation is, but combined they have 106 years of service to the American Red Cross. They have for all of their time done these things as a team. So whenever you see Paul, you see Marianne, and vice versa. We've seen them in many activations of the Emergency Operations Center, all sorts of things relating to our Emergency Services Department. So they will be retiring from the Red Cross December 31st, and this will acknowledge them for such a great commitment to the Red Cross.
I will make a motion, work with Marianne through our many times that we work together down in the DES, the Department of Emergency Services, and both of them, I mean, the COAD and following up after disasters, the phone calls that are made, the coordination, and even traveling to other states to help when other states have problems. These two have been committed for a long, long time to helping our community and doing good. So it's my pleasure to make a motion to approve this proclamation for Paul and Marianne Levan.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this well deserved proclamation of resolution. And any comments? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign, so moved. Okay.
We have a request for some letters of support for the Northern Lebanon County Authority for their application for some H2O PA water supply, sanitary sewer, and stormwater projects. They are intending to do a sewer line rehabilitation and are asking for your support in the form of a letter.
Motion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve those Park Lebanon Township requests and comment question. Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Okay, and I have two farm leases. These are both leasing of acreage on property that is owned by the county. The first is with Lauren Horning of 400 Fontana Avenue, who farms approximately an acre of some residual land that belongs to a property the county owns along 934. So I would first ask your approval on that. That one's just $150 a year for that acre.
Make a motion to approve a farm lease with the Hornings for $150 on about 1 acre along 934.
Second. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Come to think of it, I'm going to ask if I could get just another week on this Ken Rice lease, because it just occurred to me that when we settle on the property today, there's going to be some of that acreage that's going to drop off that he farms, and I don't think we've adjusted the lease accordingly. So
So when
I don't think I forgot it until today. Actually, I had this in front of me.
the
So-
lease would have to be negotiated with the new owner
If they choose.
if they're not ready to proceed.
Right, if they choose to negotiate with them, that's fine, but for the acreage that we have, I want to be fair and adjusted for him, so I'll give him a call.
For the next 3 years.
Yeah, oh yeah, for a long time. Okay. And he actually, Ken Rice indicated that when the new owner takes over, I'd like to get in contact with him, so chances are he'll probably continue that. So I'll bring that back next week, sorry about that. Last item is exemption for real estate tax requests for disabled veterans meeting the requirements of the exemption program. They are Candace Hurley of Parliament Drive, Anvil, David Martin of Mine Road, Lebanon, and Larry Cook of West Sheridan Avenue, Anvil.
No further.
Second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. With those property tax exemptions, any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign, so moved.
And you have 3 items coming up today. You have MPO at 11:30, assessment appeals at 1:30. You have 1 remaining, and Dan has a number of, I think, exemption requests to go over. He did offer, if you wanted to start a little bit early to get those exemptions out of the way from the hearing, because also at 1:30 is a hearing upstairs on courtroom number 1 on petitions that have been filed for a recount, alleged fraud process and so on. So Judge Tillwalk has called that hearing at 1:30, and I'm pretty sure you'll all want to attend that if you can as well. So trying to move the assessment appeals along with it.
So can we agree maybe 120?
Yeah, 10 minutes is enough, sure.
I think it should be, yeah, and then you just have the 1 hearing, it was 2, but it's number 1. So it's fine. Okay, I'll tell Dan.
All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Adjourn. Your attendance.